of Awakening the Dark Throne, questions asked and answered with your author, Jessica and Ashaka. I cannot believe we are one day away from the release date of my debut novel, Awakening the Dark Throne. It is a dark fantasy series, book 1 out of 5. So definitely go through and check it out. You can find it at your local bookstores, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble, online as well, or any online purchasing service should be able to have it. So today we are going to go ahead and dive into a little lengthier synopsis of the book to kind of hook and sink you. So our book, Awakening the Dark Throne, like I said, is book 1 out of 5. So in this first book, you are introduced to your main female character, Genevieve of Autumn, who is a half-breed. She is half Alfar, elf, and half human. So under the Alfar decree, if you are a half-breed of any kind, you are to be put down as soon as you are conceived. So you are not even able to, take your first breath of air. So her mother hides her when she is young in the human world, and she grows up there, an orphan. She is very poor. She basically learns how to survive on her own. She comes in contact and basically is taken care of by a Catholic church nun who has collected a bunch of orphans that she cares for at this point. And this has become her chosen family of humans. And she definitely has a strongest connection with a young girl named Lillian, who is there. She is human. And so during the story, you kind of get to know Lillian in the very beginning and learn how the dynamic of the characters work. And Genevieve is very much of a motherly figure. She takes care of those around her, and she will, die for those around her. So by chapter 3, Lillian is abducted by the Dark Court, and the entire story gets built up at that time with those first few chapters about telling you how evil the Dark Court is, how they mistreat humans, such and such. The Light Court is definitely the better of the two. And so Genevieve basically swears that she is going to sacrifice her life and do whatever it takes to get Lillian back. So she offers herself to the Light Court as basically an offering to sell herself into indentured servitude. So when she gets to the Light Court, after she offers herself up to them, they cross the protective barrier and she enters the Light Court. And little does she know, she is actually clumped into a group of females, of humans, that are going to be chosen from by the future Light King, who is Galen Atros, as his concubine or his mistress. And so this is an honor for the Light King to be to choose a human concubine. And this is a tradition that they've had, and you will understand as you read the story why Alfar choose humans as concubines. So right away, Galen is taken with Genevieve, and he chooses Jen to be his concubine, which complicates things a lot more because she's just trying to stay under the radar to try to figure out how to escape to get to the Dark Court. So as the story unfolds, she's learning the politics of the Light Court. She's seeing how brutal the humans are treated, even in the Light Court, how little regard the Alfar have for them, and basically how their life there is nothing short of miserable. Galen does end up falling in love with Genevieve, and Genevieve mistakes her need for survival as love and allows Galen in. And he does learn, him and his cousin Levos, who is another male character that you're going to get to know very well, and becomes Genevieve's best friend. But they quickly find out that she is a half-breed, and she does risk telling them in order to get information on Lillian. And so they swear to keep her secret, to try to keep her safe, and to try to help her sister anywhere they can. The conflict is that Galen is lawfully devoted to the Light Court. So the rules, things of that nature, anything that they say or do or want of him, he does. So even with his conviction, you see how he struggles a little bit when he learns of her half-breed status, how he struggles a little bit to not divulge that information to the king, because again, that is Alfar law. So she quickly does realize, though, that Galen and their relationship's strained because of his blind devotion to the Light Court. And she also learns from him, because he's the general of their armies, that there is a impending war that has been happening. There's a conflict in the Alfar lands that has now drawn the Dark Court to the Light Court's doors in order to team up basically and eliminate this threat. And the threat is that there's rifts or portals opening up from different worlds and different time periods, allowing beasts and monsters and creatures of all natures to come through and pillage the world. And they cannot stop it. They don't know who's in charge of it, who's running it. And their goal is just to keep the Alfars alive and keep the rest of the species alive on the planet. So when the Dark Court does enter the Light Court, Jen is then introduced to another main male character, Arendel Lore, who is the ambassador of the Light Court. He's very conniving, very scheming, very intelligent. He's very manipulative. He's also known for being the bad boy, the lustful bad boy, somebody who all the women woo over, but know not to mess with because he's just no good. He's a lowborn that has basically swindled his way up at this point to the king's table. So she encounters him very early on after his visit, and he begins to plant little seeds in her ear about Lillian, where she's been, what she looks like, what she's been up to these past few months, and now who she's sleeping with. And so it gets Jen riled up, and it does exactly what he wants, which is to lead her to his door for more answers. And he begins to say cryptic things to her that get her wondering, and that if he does know about her, half-breed status, things of that nature. She's very timid with him, but he keeps popping up in random time frames and different throughout the chapters that he's there. That kind of ruffles her feathers and sets them off on a bad path in the beginning. So as the conflict goes on, they face an impending battle that will basically change the fate of the Alfar forever. And during this time, Jen begins to have very vivid dreams that she now is incorporating or attributing to a vision power of sight. And so she tells Galen and Levos this, and they both brush her off like, no, that's impossible. You can't have that ability. But things keep happening and coming to fruition, and she uses her sight in order to manipulate things and get things to happen in a way that she wants. And as this upcoming battle occurs and gets closer and closer, she does have a vision that would change the fate of Alfar forever. She tells Galen. He investigates and decides no, that information is not correct, and she's determined that this is the correct path. So she goes to Arendel instead. Arendel takes a risk, believes her, and saves everyone in the light court. And at that point, it kind of sets her and Galen off on a bad path. So once the conflict is over and the Dark Court return to the kingdom of Dunok, which is where they reside, she's then left with Galen and the Light Court. And King Lysanthir is the king of the Light Court, and he begins to go mad as the wedding between his daughter and Galen approach. And she becomes very violent, very abusive, and unfortunately Jen is caught in that crossfire, and it does a lot of damage to her. And as the story progresses, she's going to have to choose to overcome everything that has been, forced upon her at this point, choosing who she is and what she is going to do. And at the end of the book, a huge revelation to who she is, where she comes from, her lineage, all of that is revealed as she takes a stance against what she believes and basically seeks her revenge and gets it in the most satisfying way possible. So after that, I hope you are intrigued in order to kind of investigate what Awakening the Dark Throne is up to come in the books. Again, there's going to be 5 books total. So the second book is all about the Dark Court. Third book is about all the other courts and all other species, and the things begin to unravel. You're going to hear from other people's perspective. You're going to be introduced to so many new characters and so many different love triangles and battles and just inner strife that they're going to have to overcome, that I feel makes them very realistic. So if you're interested, comment below and pre-order and stay tuned. I hope to hear from all of you. Thank you.